Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
So we're just sitting under a beautiful cherry blossom tree.
Yeah.
Next to
Google headquarters.
Google headquarters.
So you can Google us.
Can Google us. All right. So we're reading today from the Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam.
Yes, Canto 3, Chapter 23, Text 30, Devahuti's Lamentation.
Okay. So I think lots of devotees, lots of people are tuning in. Heard a few comments. People are excited to hear this controversial, thank you. Controversial conversation. So
yeah,
we shall continue. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. That's not earthquakes or gunfire, it's building work next door, unfortunately.
Alright, let's construct our hearts. See that? Text 30. Then in a mirror, she, that's Devahuti, beheld her own reflection. Her body was completely freed from all dirt, and she was adorned with a garland. Dressed in unsullied robes and decorated with auspicious marks of tilak, she was served very respectfully by the maids. Text 31. Her entire body, including her head, was completely bathed, and she was decorated all over with ornaments. She wore a special necklace with a locket. There were bangles on her wrists and tinkling anklets of gold about her anklets.
Ankles.
Oh, ankles, sorry.
Anklets on her anklets.
Purport. The word Krita Sira Snanam is here. Oh dear. According to the Smriti Sastra's directions for daily duties, ladies are allowed to bathe daily up to the neck. Well, there you go. We are allowed to bathe daily up to the neck. The hair on the head does not necessarily have to be washed daily because the mass of wet hair may cause a cold. For ladies, therefore, taking a bath up to the neck is ordinarily prescribed, and they take a full bath only on certain occasions. On this occasion, Devahuti took a full bath and washed her hair very nicely. When the lady takes an ordinary bath, it is called Mala Snan. And when she takes a full bath, including the head, it is called Shira Snan. At this time, she needs sufficient oil to smear on her head. That is the direction of the commentators of Smriti Shastra.
Wow, such detail, huh?
Yeah.
Thanks for the commentary being a lady. It's like yeah, so there's so many different types of even distinction in bath. Excuse me, and there's clarity on the type of bath, and there's also different baths for men. It's not just that it's like some regulation for women how they can take a bath, but for men, after you do a ceremony or conduct a yajna, there's a certain type of snan that you're meant to take, and there's different ways. So I guess we also have in the West, you can have a shower, you can have a bath, or have a jacuzzi or a bubble bath or something like that. I don't know, but this seems to be quite clear. And then, so it's interesting. Yeah, lifestyle is very prescriptive in a certain way, So.
Yeah, it's interesting because like in bygone days, Victorian times and older times, they would just put like perfume or scent, and they wouldn't bath.
Well, that's in the Western country, yeah.
Yeah, for a long time. And when we went to Paris, when I was in school, I got terribly homesick. My French teacher said, oh no, we don't shower. And she was French, and she's a French teacher. She said we put very expensive perfume, which is what she did for the duration of the trip. I was like, oh dear. It was quite normal.
Yeah, not looking down on anyone who decides not to bathe daily, but
Oh yeah, sorry. But you
in
should,
general.
it's nice. All French people. We're not looking down on you either.
Oh goodness gracious, we're getting in trouble here. So yeah, so I think the idea is that and Indian culture, it's daily snan is there.
It's just the norm.
Yeah, you go and have baths when you first get up.
When you get up, yeah.
Okay, text 32. About her hips. Please forgive me. About her hips, she wore About her hips, she wore a girdle of gold, set with numerous jewels, and she was further adorned with a precious pearl necklace and auspicious substances. Purport. Auspicious substances include saffron, kumkum, and sandalwood pulp. Before taking a bath, there are other auspicious substances such as turmeric mixed with mustard seed oil, which are smeared all over the body. All kinds of auspicious substances were used to bathe Devahuti from top to toe. Interesting, because we were just discussing recently with devotees who are about to get married, and there's part of the ceremony is a function, the vidi, it's also called, where they smear them with turmeric paste and other items, and that's meant to be purifying for the skin. Of course, these are all natural things that are put there. You can see saffron is interesting, kumkum and sandalwood pulp. Yeah, so for aroma, so these are all very natural items that are being used here. Mustard seed oil and turmeric. Yeah, mustard seed oil is supposed to be very good for the skin. In fact. So so lots of different things here. Lots of different tips going on here for the well-being of the body and looking after the body.
Text 33. Her countenance shone with beautiful teeth and charming eyebrows. Her eyes, distinguished by lovely moist corners, defeated the beauty of lotus buds. Her face was surrounded by dark curling
Tresses.
tresses.
I think that's like tresses or like those.
Papa, according to Vedic culture, white teeth are very much appreciated. Oh, right. Devahuti's white teeth increased the beauty of her face and made it look like a lotus flower. When the face looks very attractive, the eyes are generally compared to lotus petals and the face to a lotus flower.
There you go.
Well, there you go, right? So make sure you use your Colgate.
Well, I wouldn't endorse Colgate myself.
All right. What else is there?
No, just
use toothpaste.
Well, in India they just use a twig off of a tree, a neem tree,
they did
especially.
That when we went for the first time, and in the village, that's where we went to. Village. Yeah, and they were outside sitting on the front porch, which is also like, what are you doing? Using a twig, brushing their teeth, and then spitting everywhere. And, I'm like from tooting, and I'm like, really? Like, what are you doing? It's such a culture shock, which I've never got over.
Obviously. Personally, I love it. I think it's great. I mean, how wonderful. You just go outside and break a twig off a tree and brush your teeth with it. Save so much money, so natural. You fling it on the floor, it's done. The tree has done some service. I mean, it's great. As far as spitting, well, that's an unfortunate thing that I've
They were. It was like, and then they're just staring as well. Anyway, we're going to get into it.
Okay, text 34, moving right along. When she thought of her great husband, the best of the sages, Kardama Muni, who was very dear to her, she, along with all the maidservants, at once appeared where he was. There you go. Mystical potencies. Purport. It appears from this verse that in the beginning Devahuti thought herself to be dirty and dressed in a very niggardly way. When her husband asked her to enter the lake, she saw the maidservants, and they took care of her. Everything was done within the water, and as soon as she thought of her beloved husband, Kardama, she was brought before him without delay. These are some of the powers attained by perfect yogis. They can immediately execute anything they desire.
Okay. Text 35. She was amazed to find herself surrounded by 1,000 maids in the presence of her husband and to witness his yogic power.
I mean, this must be pretty far out. You've been serving your husband, like performing austerity. He's just sitting there most of the time in trance, and you're cooking for him, and he comes out and does his bits and pieces, you have a little conversation, and you've like become disheveled, and you know your body is degraded in so many ways, and all of a sudden he's just said hocus pocus. You've got like this aerial mansion, thousands of maid servants being bathed, the hill decorated with fine ornaments, and you're like, wow, you mad, kind of thing.
No, I'd be thinking, why didn't you do this before? Why did I need to go through this austerity?
Well, exactly, there you go.
Yeah.
Same reason you're going through the austerity you're going through now. We got another 1,000 years to go, probably,
Oh dear.
before I can create some aerial mansion.
I don't need no aerial mansion, man.
What do you need then?
Oh, do we need to open that up on this?
I don't
Is
know,
this
you're the
time
one
for-
that started the conversation.
Let me finish the purport by Prabhupada.
Okay.
Devahuti saw everything miraculously done, yet when brought before her husband, she could understand that it was all due to his great yogic mystic power. She understood that nothing was impossible for a yogi like Kardama Muni. For some reason, right? We've sat here and there's no one here, right? If we do this, we attract people. So
Yeah,
as soon as we
the
sit
Bhagavatam
down,
attracts everyone.
there's like people around us looking at us and talking
Okay,
too
so
much.
now text 37.
Hey, really?
The sage could see that Devahuti had washed herself clean and was shining forth as though no longer his former wife. She had regained her own original beauty as the daughter of a prince. Dressed in excellent robes, her charming breasts duly girded, she was waited upon by 1,000 Gandharva girls. O destroyer of the enemy, his fondness for her grew, and he placed her on the aerial mansion. Purport. Before her marriage, when Devahuti was brought by her parents before the sage Kardama, she was the perfectly beautiful princess, and Kardama Muni remembered her former beauty. But after her marriage, when she was engaged in the service of Kardama Muni, she neglected to care for her body like a princess, since there was no means for such care. Her husband was living in a cottage, and since she was always engaged in serving him, her royal beauty disappeared, and she became just like an ordinary maidservant. Now, after being bathed by the Gandharva girls by the order of Kardama Muni's yogic power, she regained her beauty. If I had mystic powers, I'd be using them for something different. Kardama Muni, she regained her beauty, and Kardama Muni felt attracted to the beauty she had shown before the marriage. The real beauty of a young woman is her breasts. When Kardama Muni saw the breasts of his wife so nicely decorated, increasing her beauty many times, he was attracted, even though he was a great sage. Sripad Shankaracharya has therefore warned the transcendentalists that one who is after transcendental realization should not be attracted by the raised breasts of a woman, because they are nothing but an interaction of fat and blood within the body.
I don't know what people think of us sitting there reading this, because we've got quite an audience now.
There's not that much of an audience.
No,
Everybody's
you never
on their
agrees
phones.
with what I says, in case you've noticed that. We don't have an audience.
Okay, we got an audience. Anyway, don't try to bypass the topic matter that's been given here.
Well, I don't think we need to discuss. Got self-explanatory, really. We need to discuss.
Well, the point is that we see that that's what's used in society these days to kind of sell things. And it is for, it's just like, considered an attractive feature. And there are lots of different, I guess, psychological things for it. But you can see here that, like Sripad Shankaracharya, of course, Prabhupada doesn't quote him very often, but because he was quite a staunch renunciant, celibate. So the point is that, we become attracted to these kind of bodily objects, but we have to remember what the body actually is. It's just, and this is, I think I grew up in the temple hearing this in lecture after lecture by different sannyasis and senior renunciants, that, the body is just simply a skin bag. It's a bag made of skin with 9 holes, because there's 9 gates in the body, and it's just filled with pus and bile and urine and stool, and so there you go. Now you're really attracted to the body, right? But we become attracted to this, but actually what is the body? That's what the body is, and the body gets old, and the skin bag gets, wrinkles, and it starts to drag because of the pull of gravity. So all of these things, in the Bhagavad Gita it says, yantra rudani maya, that the body is, the soul is resting on a body which is simply a machine made of the material energy. So like that, so if we can try to remember that, then it will help us to not be so allured and attracted by the body, but to really look deeper to see what is the essence of the body, what is giving life to the body, and that's the soul, Jiva that's within, and of course Krishna, who's present. He is the all-attractive force feature. So next time you see something you're attracted to, just think, just see how amazing Krishna is. At least think of Krishna. Anyway, that's my commentary. Is that too much?
No. It's true though. It's like, no matter how much you may be fond of someone, I was thinking this, it's when they drop dead, it's quite gross, It's true though, you don't want to touch it, you may be scared, it's a dead body. Immediately, before it even starts to get, what is it, rigor mortis? That's just gross, but it's like, it's within a second, it's no longer unless you're like one of those freaky people, dead people in the house. No, some people do that, don't they? Like
people do all kinds of stuff. Do we talk about all these things?
I'm trying to allow me to give my purport, but it's a fact. Think about someone. I don't mean this in a bad way, but if they left and they were like sitting next to you or whatever, it would be the relationship would completely change. Why? Because your sense gratification is arrested, done, finished, and you're like, and now you've got to deal with a whole load of other things to do with that material body that no longer has the spirit soul in it.
Yeah, and what do you do with the body once the soul's not in it? You either burn it, you bury it, you throw it in a river, you just discard it like garbage. Yeah. Bhagavatam says, then it becomes food for the worms, for the vultures, and for the, what else?
Worms.
Yeah, I said worms, vultures, and something else. Dogs, I think.
Dogs.
Yeah, and then it just turns back into stool.
Yeah, so it's quite profound and deep if you really think about it.
Yeah.
We keep saying that we're not with this body, we're not this body, and okay, but what does that mean? In the sense that when I'm no longer in this body, what does that mean for everyone else? And for me in terms of relation to others. It's quite deep,
It is indeed. Well, we're going to end on that happy note for everybody, and thank you for tuning in again. So the controversies continue here in the pastime of Devahuti and Cardamom Muni.
Yeah.
And meditation, let's all try to go away, and after watching this, when we feel ourselves allured or attracted by the material energy, try to see Krishna's divine spark of beauty and try to recognize it for what it actually is. It's not something is in the mind that is making us become allured and attracted, and it's a hope of some sort of enjoyment or sense gratification, but it's just a temporary vehicle. The soul is what we need to focus on, as you all know that already. Thank you very much. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai.
Haribo.